Today, I'm going over 10 signs someone is emotionally mature. I'm a licensed therapist, and this is something I talk about a lot because emotional maturity is one of the best predictors of healthy relationships, whether that be romantic, professional, or even the relationship with yourself. These signs are not about perfection, they're about patterns, about the way someone generally handles conflict, feedback, uncertainty, vulnerability, and boundaries. These are signs that tell you this person has done the work or is doing the work. You might see yourself in a few of these, others might be areas you're still growing. Either way, self-awareness is a huge part of emotional maturity, so even reflecting on these is a great start. Let's get into it. Sign number 1, they take accountability. Let's say you're in a conversation where someone was hurt by something you said. Emotionally immature people tend to shift blame quickly. They say things like, "That's not what I meant," or, "Well, you're just too sensitive." It becomes about proving themselves right rather than understanding the other person's experience. Emotionally mature people respond differently. They might say, "I can see how what I said impacted you. That wasn't my intention, but I take responsibility for how it landed." That kind of response doesn't mean they're groveling, it just means they're being honest. This also shows up in professional settings. Suppose someone forgets to respond to an important email that causes a project to be delayed. An emotionally mature person won't hide behind excuses like, "I've been busy." They'll say, "I missed that and I understand how it affected the team. I'm setting a reminder system so it won't happen again." They're not trying to preserve a perfect image, they're focused on growth and repair. They understand that taking responsibility builds trust, not weakness, and it invites others to do the same. Sign number 2, they can genuinely apologize. Apologizing isn't just saying the words "I'm sorry." A real apology has structure. It involves naming exactly what you did, acknowledging how it impacted the other person, showing that you've learned from it, stating that you'll do differently next time, and then following through with changed behavior. Let's say a parent misses their child's school performance. A generic "sorry I missed it" doesn't go very far, but a genuine apology sounds more like, "I didn't manage my calendar well, and I see how much that hurt you. You were excited to have me there. I'm putting my events in my calendar with reminders now because I never want you to feel like you don't matter to me." That kind of apology creates repair. It shows depth. It communicates, "Your experience matters more to me than my ego." And on the flip side, emotionally immature apologies often sound like, "I'm sorry you feel that way," which isn't an apology at all. It shifts the focus back onto the other person's reaction instead of the behavior that caused the pain. Emotionally mature people know that an apology without action is just manipulation. They show remorse by showing up differently. Sign number 3, they take feedback without getting defensive. We all know someone who, when given even the gentlest piece of feedback, spirals into defensiveness or counterattacks with, "Well, you do it too," or "I guess I can't do anything right around here." Emotionally mature people, on the other hand, might feel that same initial sting. We all do. But they pause, they breathe, and instead of reacting, they respond. They might say, "I hadn't thought of it that way. Can you tell me more?" It's not that they automatically agree with every criticism, but they don't treat feedback as a threat to their worth. They treat it as information they can sort through. They know how to listen without immediately defending themselves. Let's say a friend says, "You haven't really checked in with me lately. I've been feeling kind of forgotten." An emotionally mature person won't say, "Well, you haven't checked on me either." They'll say, "You're right. I've been caught up in my stuff and I didn't realize how distant I've been. Thank you for saying that." That moment can either lead to disconnection or to a much stronger relationship, and it starts with being open to feedback. Sign number 4, they can admit when they don't know something. We've all seen it. Someone talking with way too much confidence about a topic they clearly haven't researched, or giving advice that sounds good but lacks depth or context. A huge part of emotional maturity is knowing the limits of your knowledge. Imagine a friend giving unsolicited advice about a relationship when they've never been in a relationship, or a coworker giving financial advice outside their field. It's not always malicious, but it shows insecurity. The need to appear competent outweighs the desire to be accurate. Emotionally mature people have the courage to say, I actually don't know much about that, or I'd have to read more before forming an opinion. This even shows up in leadership. The best leaders are the ones who say, let's bring someone in who specializes in this, rather than pretending to know everything. That humility isn't weakness. It creates a culture of learning and honesty. It also builds credibility because when they do speak with certainty, people trust that it's grounded in something real. Sign number 5, they are emotionally vulnerable. Being emotionally vulnerable doesn't mean trauma dumping or crying in every conversation. It means you're willing to share your real experience even when there's risk involved. Let's say someone is having a rough week and a friend asks, how are you doing? A lot of people would deflect with, I'm fine. But emotionally mature people might say, honestly, it's been tough. I've been feeling really anxious and unsure of myself. Or they might tell their partner, when you didn't text me all day, I told myself it was no big deal. But the truth is, it made me feel kind of unimportant. That's vulnerability. It's expressing the things we usually hide. And it requires courage because there's always the risk we won't be met with the way we hope to be. But emotional maturity means you're willing to take that risk anyway, because the alternative is disconnection. Vulnerability is how intimacy grows. It's how we're truly seen. Sign number 6, they listen more than they speak. This one's big. Emotionally mature people don't dominate conversations. They don't make everything about themselves. They listen, not just to respond, but to understand. If a friend is venting about something difficult, emotionally immature people often jump in with advice or comparison. You think that's bad? Let me tell you what happened to me. Emotionally mature people pause, they reflect, they ask questions. How long have you felt that way? What do you need right now? They stay in the other person's world for a while. You see this in relationships too. A mature partner listens during conflict. They don't interrupt or escalate. They might even say, can you say that again? I want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Good listening is a form of generosity. It says, your inner world matters to me. That's what builds connection. Sign number 7, they respect boundaries. Boundaries are about safety. Emotional maturity means recognizing you don't have to understand or agree with someone's boundary to respect it. Let's say a friend says, I don't want to talk about politics right now. An emotionally immature person might keep pushing or mock them for being too sensitive. But an emotionally mature person says, got it, thanks for letting me know. Or in a relationship, maybe your partner says, I need alone time after work to decompress. Emotional maturity doesn't hear that as rejection, it hears it as regulation. Respecting boundaries also shows up when someone says no. No to an event, no to a favor, no to a conversation. And instead of taking it personally or trying to override it, emotionally mature people accept it. They don't ask, why not, in a guilt-inducing tone. They say, thank you for telling me. Sign number 8, they can accept when things don't go their way. Things fall apart. Plans get canceled. Opportunities slip away. Emotionally mature people might be disappointed, but they don't spiral into helplessness or rage. Let's say someone doesn't get a promotion. Instead of blaming coworkers or criticizing the boss, they sit with the disappointment and then look at what they can learn. Maybe I need to improve my visibility, or I'll schedule a feedback session to see where I can grow. Or maybe they're on vacation and the weather ruins their plans. An emotionally mature person doesn't let one disruption ruin the whole trip. They recalibrate. Okay, we'll do indoor stuff today. They know how to pivot. They don't cling to the way things should have gone. They deal with what it is. Number 9, they seek out different viewpoints. Emotionally mature people know how to disagree respectfully. They know that their worldview is shaped by their upbringing, culture, and environment, and that other people have had entirely different experiences. So instead of assuming anyone who disagrees with me is wrong or bad, they think, what led them to believe this? What am I missing? Emotionally mature people might read books they don't agree with, watch documentaries on opposing views, or have conversations with people from different backgrounds. They don't shut down conversations because they're uncomfortable, they're curious, and that curiosity makes them more grounded, more empathetic, and more intellectually flexible. Sign number 10, they are kind without people-pleasing. Kindness is a core feature of emotional maturity, but it's not the same as needing approval. Emotionally mature people help others, but they don't burn themselves out doing it. They're not seeking validation, they're just living in alignment with their values. They'll hold the door, send a kind text, compliment someone's work, donate time or resources without expecting anything back. Their kindness is consistent, not conditional. And they're kind, especially to people who are hard to be kind to. They show patience to the overwhelmed cashier, grace to the friend who's late, and compassion to themselves on hard days. That's the mark of someone who's centered, someone who's not performing goodness, but living it. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and see you in the next one.